Hello, brothers and sisters, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all having a great day. And we're back doing something that I haven't really done in a while in this channel. We're going to be talking about some football, strictly Bills in this episode. We won't be going through all the NFL games. And back by popular demand, you could say, we have my father and fellow Bills fan, Mark Torres. So this Sunday, we've got a pretty big game coming up. The Buffalo Bills, 9-3, coming off a fantastic win on Thanksgiving in Dallas, have the Baltimore Ravens coming to town, with the Lamar Jackson Ravens also having an outstanding season. And you've been saying all week this may be the biggest game in Orchard Park in years.
I can't honestly remember a game in the past 10 years, probably going back to the year they lost to Pittsburgh with a sort of a chance to make the playoffs. But this is as big a home game as they've played in a while. And it's fun to see. It brings back memories of the 90s when they were playing big games here virtually on a weekly basis. So it should be fun.
Yeah, big game coming up. We're going to talk about it. But first I want to take a step back for a second, take a minute to talk big picture, talk AFC playoffs for a sec. The Bills right now, after their win in Dallas, sitting at 9-3, 2 games ahead of the 6th seed Pittsburgh Steelers, and pretty comfortably in position to secure the top wild card spot. And as of right now, 1 game back of the New England Patriots. The division could be at play for these guys.
Yes, I actually believe the division is at play. I've been saying for most of the season that I don't think the Patriots. I know they're 10-2, but they definitely have some issues as we've seen the last few weeks. And I think that there's a chance that the game in New England could come down to the Bills and Patriots playing for the division lead. That would not be out of the realm of possibility to me. Of course, that does mean they're going to have to beat Baltimore on Sunday, and that's a pretty tall order.
Yeah, Bills will have to beat the Ravens this week, and the Patriots will have to lose to Kansas City. That's probably the best. And of course, the Bills would have to win their Week 16 clash in New England. All seems pretty plausible right now. Kansas City is playing well again. They're healthy. They're making a run for a top seed. You said it. New England has not looked great, especially on offense. They have all kinds of problems on that team right now.
They do have problems. They can't run the ball, and they're missing Gronkowski, and their line is not up to snuff, and they are struggling to score. They're fortunate that their defense is really good, but against a team like Kansas City, they might have some issues.
The division certainly within the Bills' grasp right now. With the New England does have the advantage in the tiebreaker, so we would have to essentially win out and finish with a better record than New England. And this game Sunday against the Ravens is a big step in that direction. If they beat Baltimore, I feel like they have a great chance of winning out.
Well, I think that's definitely true. But that's also, like I said before, that's a pretty tall order. Baltimore is really good. And I know that they've got a few issues defensively, but offensively, they're the whole package. And they do one thing really, really well that the Bills have had trouble with even this year, is they are a very powerful running team.
Absolutely. And the thing, too, that they do well, that the Bills have struggled to do this season, although they've been doing a better job at it the last couple weeks, is putting points on the board. That is an offense that knows how to get into the end zone. And the Bills, for the most part of this season, have had difficulty finishing off drives, settling for field goals when they should be scoring touchdowns. But I do feel like this offense has gotten better the last couple weeks. After the Cleveland game, you and I were killing Brian Daboll for his play calling, and rightfully so. But I feel like he's gotten better the last 3 weeks.
It's kind of funny. I know that, and I can't believe that this is all it would have taken to make this offense start to click a little bit better. But ever since I think it was after the Cleveland game, and McDermott went out and told them to play fearless, they have been playing a little looser.
Yeah.
And on offense, and that includes Allen, that includes the play calling. Allen is moving around a little bit more, which is the strength of his game, and that is why their offense has been clicking a little bit more. They have finished off drives, but they probably need to do a better job of that on Sunday, because I have no confidence whatsoever in their kicking game, and in this game, that is a huge advantage for Baltimore.
Yeah, Stephen Hauschka, he has been having a down season by his standards. We point to his injury to the New York Jets late in last season, and it does feel like he hasn't been the same kicker since that happened.
It does feel that way. He doesn't have the strength in his leg, and he's obviously missed some short kicks, but he's a crapshoot from 50 yards or more, and that's really, you really can't have that in a close game. I watched the end of the Niners game with Baltimore on Sunday, and there was absolutely no doubt in anybody's mind in that stadium that Tucker was going to make that kick. Yeah. And I certainly do not think you would even think about having the same confidence in Hauschka in the same situation.
Yeah, Hauschka is having a tough year. Getting back to the offense for a second, because you mentioned Sean McDermott after the Cleveland game telling the players to play fearless. I feel like that's translated to the coaching staff as well. I feel like McDermott and Daboll, especially after that game, really took a hard look at themselves and made a commitment to getting better and managing game situations better, and I think that's shown on the field.
Well, they certainly made a commitment to getting the ball to Devin Singletary more, and that is obviously a key to this offense.
Right.
He is a star in the making.
Oh yeah.
And the more they feed him the ball, the better off that they are. He's kind of an X factor in the passing game, and he's a more powerful runner than he appears. That, when you put that in there, and you get into the whole thing about letting Allen have a little bit more freedom to do things, I just think it's opened up a lot of things for their offense.
Yeah, absolutely. Singletary is having a fantastic year. He's still averaging, I think, over 5 yards a carry, which is ridiculous. And I think Singletary is going to be a key in this game against Baltimore, because as good as Baltimore is on offense, I don't think they're as good as they appear on defense. This is a team that you can definitely run the ball on. In their second loss to Cleveland, Nick Chubb ran all over them.
They have some issues defensively. The real key to beating them, though, is if you're going to be able to take advantage of those issues defensively, you have to keep the game close in the beginning. Yeah. Because they come out, and if they're running up and down the field on you in the first quarter or the first half, and you're falling behind, then you're toast.
Yeah.
It happened. That's what happened with the Rams. That's even what happened with the Patriots. The only reason the Patriots game got a little closer is because they had a couple of turnovers, one on special teams. But you need to stay in the game early against them.
Yeah, absolutely.
I look at Baltimore and I see a team that's really on its game right now. And make no mistake about it, this is a step up in class for the Bills. Yeah. They have not played a team close to these guys all season. I know the Dallas win was great, but Dallas really isn't that good.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are not understanding that. And they're looking at the Dallas game as a watershed game, and maybe it will be down the road. But like I said, this is the Bills have not seen a team like this year. So hopefully they'll be ready for it, and we'll kind of get an idea. It'll be a good measuring stick for them.
Yeah. Let's talk about the quarterback battle for a second, because you got Lamar Jackson. I believe these are two very similar quarterbacks. They make plays with their legs as often as they do with their arms, if not more. They've both taken significant steps forward in their development from their rookie season to now. And I think this could be a fun game. I think Lamar Jackson is going to do what he does, and I think he's going to make some big plays. But don't count out Allen either, because he's also very capable of making big plays, and that arm of his, if he can chuck one, if he chucks one down the field and makes a big play, then look out. We could have a shootout on our hands here.
Well, I don't think you're going to have a shootout on your hands. I still don't believe that the Bills' offense is good enough to have a shootout with anybody and come out on top.
Yeah.
If the game gets into the 30s, the Bills are going to be in big trouble. And I think that it's going to be the key to the game it will be fun to watch the quarterbacks go at it. But Jackson is tough to stop, and the one of the things, and an old friend, Greg Roman, has come up with an offense that looks to get him out on the edge,
right,
and use the speed that he has. That's one thing that the Bills have not quite figured out a way to do it with Allen yet. He gets out and runs the ball, but it's mostly in scramble situations.
Yeah.
And I think they could take a page out at some point in the offseason maybe and look at what the Ravens do with Jackson and see if that maybe they can incorporate some of those things into their offense.
I think one of the improvements that they've made, though, in the last 3 weeks, where we saw the offense get better, is they have leaned into Allen's running abilities a bit more. They've designed more plays to get him out of the pocket. They've called more quarterback sneaks and quarterback draws and runs and stuff. So I think they are starting to figure it out a little bit to lean into his running ability a little bit more. And Josh Allen is great at selling fakes on those run pass options. He really sells the heck out of those fakes.
Well, yes, but they don't, and you're right, they have given him a little bit more of a free hand in running the ball, but they still do not have an effective way to get him out on the edge. The quarterback draws are fine. Certainly, Matthew's heard me say this time and again, on 3rd and 4th and 1, the quarterback sneak is a no-brainer. You got to be running that 100% of the time unless you're trying to fool them.
Yeah.
But they don't. He's a pretty fast guy, and they just haven't quite figured out a way to get him out on the edge the way the Ravens have done with Jackson, and the way that the Niners did with Kaepernick that first season when they went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I will say Allen's pocket presence looks a lot better. Like, he just has a much better feel of what's going on around him, and he's able to step up in the pocket. He's able to find ways to get outside of the pocket when he needs to, when things kind of break down around him. And the offensive line has been doing a great job all year of keeping him protected.
The middle of that line is doing a great job. That the money that they spent on those 3 guys was money well spent, because he gets the tackles push those guys outside, including Cody Ford, who is a lot better pushing guys out and still can get beat inside. But they keep that pocket clean just so for him to step up. And it's Spain, Morse, Feliciano.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Quentin Spain, because I do feel like he's one of the unsung heroes of this team.
No question.
He's been fantastic.
No question.
And Cody Ford, to his credit, I was worried when Ty Nsekhe went down, he would kind of get exposed a little bit, but he hasn't. He's held his own, and he's done a pretty good job on that line in the stead of Ty Nsekhe. I do want to touch on one more thing before we wrap this video up and make our picks. Last week, Thursday on Thanksgiving, was the Cole Beasley revenge game. He went to Dallas, caught 6 balls for 110 yards and a touchdown. Do you think we see a John Brown revenge game against the Ravens?
I don't know. I don't put a lot of stock into that. I know that Beasley can say all he wants. He played 7 years there, and that game meant a lot to him going back to that stadium. It's not quite the same situation with Brown. He was only there for 1 year.
Yeah.
They're not going down to Baltimore. But I will say this. John Brown kind of fell off the table for them last year when they made the quarterback change.
Yeah.
So there might be a little something extra special in it for him. So I wouldn't rule it out, but I don't normally put a lot of stock into that kind of thing.
So let's get down to it. After the dust settles in Orchard Park, what do you think the result is? I have always made it a point to pick the Bills. My heart says the Bills will win, and I want to confidently say that the Bills would win, but the realist in me is saying that Baltimore probably edges us out. I think it'll be a close game. I do think they'll be able to keep it close, but My brain is saying Baltimore, but my heart is saying Buffalo. But you know what? I'm going to go with my heart. I'm going to say Buffalo wins this game.
Well, I think I look at two things. I look at the fact that the Jackson is so dynamic right now. The only thing that slowed him up for the last 9 or 10 weeks has been the weather in Baltimore. The Bills are not going to have that advantage on Sunday, and I think that Baltimore has a huge advantage in the kicking game. And I don't think the game will be a blowout. I don't think they'll stomp them like they have some other teams. But I see Baltimore winning 30-20.
Okay, so those are our picks for the Buffalo Bills Baltimore Ravens game. It should be a fun one. Like we said at the beginning, much anticipated, probably the biggest game that has come to Orchard Park in many years. And I, for one, cannot wait to see it. I think Dad has been making a concerted effort not to let his emotions influence his opinions on this game because...
Well, somebody has to be the voice of reason in this conversation.
Well, you were the one... You were the one before this morning, before I suggested we do this video. You were the one who was saying this morning you'd come on this video and say we were going to kick Baltimore's ass. So I think Dad has kind of let reason over. I think Dad has kind of let cooler heads prevail and let logic take over a little bit. Like I said, I believe in my heart that the Bills can win, but my brain is telling me probably not. But we'll see. It should be a fun game. So that's that. Have a blessed week. We will see you in the next video. And as always in this segment, go Bills!
Happy holidays.